incredible story of a 13-year-old young man who is fighting for change and the end of the bizarre and awful practice of school seclusion rooms. At just 7 years old, Alex Campbell, who has autism spectrum disorder, was put in a, quote, crisis room at his elementary school, essentially a storage closet for children who act out. Alex was sent more than half a dozen times, sometimes coming home with marks and bruises. He says the experience left him feeling scared and alone, but now he is strong, and he is meeting with members of Congress to advocate for change. Here now, Alex Campbell and his father, Sean Campbell. Welcome to both of you. Good to have you with us tonight. Alex, I know that you are speaking out about this and that you want to see an end to this, but explain to people who don't know, and we're going to put up a picture of the seclusion room. What is it, and why were you sent there?
Basically, a seclusion room is a place where a school staff member takes a child and locks them in the room, and it's typically a converted storage closet. And I was mostly taken to seclusion room for things like not following directions and just a lot of little things where the seclusion room was not really necessary.
And you talk about the room having dark walls, and you could hear them sliding a desk in front of the door so that you couldn't get out. And now, Sean, you are an educator yourself, fourth generation of educators, and you make a very good point that it would be illegal for a parent to lock their child in a room. Why is it not for a school to do so?
And that's the question that we've all been asking. You know, if we were to do this at home, we would have Child Protective Services banging on my door. But because I'm a certified teacher and the same act is done in a school setting, it's perfectly legal in the state of Virginia. And what we found is that there are some states that have regulations in place to prevent this, but there are some states that don't. And it's just a very disjointed way of how it's being addressed, and there really needs to be some type of consistency.
Alex, what was the impact of all this on you?
I really feel like having this all done, it made me want to come out and fight against it, and that's really what I've done. I've started at the state level, and now we're up to the national level, involving restraint and seclusion regulations.
You know, Alex, and I admire you for what you're doing, because I think a lot of people have no idea this is happening, and I think it's really important. Sean, talk to me about, you know, from the teacher's perspective, right? If they have a student who is disruptive in the class, right, and they need to separate that student so that it's not too distracting for the other students, what's a better way to manage this situation?
Well, ideally, any teacher is going to have multiple tools in their toolbox. One thing that teachers could use is some type of sensory room. Sensory room, there's been a lot of confusion about the difference between a seclusion room and a sensory room. Well, a sensory room is a place that's open, that students go in and out freely, and they have things like fidget toys or beanbag chairs, things that can help children de-escalate and really embrace that calming techniques. The other things that teachers can do really is that having proper training and really looking at that de-escalation techniques, because most children just don't snap, you know, in a blink of an eye. You can actually watch them as they ramp up, and being attuned to watching children ramp up and then addressing that appropriately before you have to resort to calling a principal and having the child dragged out of the room.
Yeah, and I just want to say before we go that you were also told not to tell anyone that this was being done to you while you were at school, which is obviously wrong. Alex and Sean, thank you for bringing everyone's attention to this. We appreciate you being here tonight, and good luck with your mission.
Oh, thank you.
So that is our story on this Monday night. We're back here again, of course, tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Now we take you to Washington, D.C., and Tucker Carlson, who's coming up next. Good night, everybody.